Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest, Rachel, over here with us, all the way from Tampa, Florida. A beautiful place, lots of attention being given to this region, right? So let's see what's happening in Tampa, Florida, and more importantly, let's hear from a high-performing agent who takes very good care of their clients. Rachel, without any further delay, tell us your secrets.
Well, you had asked me how I got into real estate, and it was actually my dad. Before his passing, he had recommended that I get into real estate, which I thought was absolutely insane because at the time I was actually working for Costco wholesale.
Mhm.
I'd been there 7 years with plenty of opportunity to put money into a 401k, have some of the best health benefits I've ever had.
Yeah.
And also at the time, I had just had a little boy. So when I got into real estate, he was maybe about a year and a half old.
Mhm.
And so again, I thought my dad was completely crazy because I'm like, hey, I have this great corporate job. I'm really comfortable. Obviously, I wanted to keep pushing myself in Costco
Mhm.
and get into higher up in management. But Costco, it's very hard to do that because the people that end up in those positions, they stay there for a really long time.
Yeah.
So I kind of started to see my cap at that company, and made that decision that, you know what, let me take a leap of faith. Let me go ahead and do this. Let me at least go to real estate school. If I like it, then I'll pursue it.
Yeah,
So,
that's a very unique way. Most people are like attracted, saying, "Hey, this is going to be it." Just dive deep into it. But I think you took baby steps into this career.
well, a little bit because I ended up getting my real estate license. And at the time, I was actually selling real estate in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's where I started my real estate career. Also, a very dynamic market.
Oh yeah,
That also saw a lot of growth because of all of the migration from California, the Raider Stadium, and all the additional things that they brought in for tourist attraction. However, got my license, and the brokerage that I was with was coached by Mike Ferry. And so I went to a Mike Ferry event.
nice.
And for the viewers that may not know who that is like the first real estate coach ever.
Yeah.
All the other coaches kind of take off of Mike Ferry. So 2 weeks into having my license, I went to a Mike Ferry event. I was like, wow, this is incredible. Started prospecting in the office at night
Hmm.
after working at Costco all day, and then just kind of realized a couple months into it that if this was something that I was going to do, then I really just need to go for it because being a part-time agent, as you know, is, can be very unrealistic, especially when you're a very driven individual. So, 2 months after getting my license, I actually walked into Costco, gave them my 2 weeks notice,
Oh, wow.
and started my real estate career.
Yeah.
So,
Did you have a client at that stage?
I'm sorry.
Did you have a client? Were you already showing homes or like had a listing to? Wow.
I had no listing, I had no buyer. I was just prospecting a lot. I was talking to people every single day. And my first year in real estate, I actually ended up I made 10,000 contacts.
Oh wow.
So I was very aggressive with at least the consistency of being on the phone.
Yeah.
So, but I was terrible. I was so bad at sales. I didn't really understand it at a high level, even though I was getting excellent training. I had always dealt with retail sales
Yeah.
where people come to you.
Yeah.
So going out and finding people and then being able to convert them to working with me, I don't know what it was, but it was just I had a really hard time grasping how to really do that
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
Inbound, outbound sales, right? Like, you have to like reach out to somebody, tell them what you do, and tell them why they should be doing something.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I didn't actually sell my first house until basically my 1 year anniversary of having my license.
Oh,
So it was a really rough start for me. And granted, I had cushion from working at Costco all those years. I was always really smart with my money. So I had a savings at least to live off of at that time. Otherwise, there was no way I was going to be able to make it.
yeah.
Um, and then the next year, year two, I ended up doing, I think it was just over 135,000 GCI.
Oh, wow. That was also in Nevada, in
That
Vegas.
was in Nevada. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's a lot because like going from that one transaction, I think the first transaction is always the sweetest, right? Like it's like, oh yes, this thing works.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it kind of has a snowball effect, and one transaction might lead to one or more transactions from that transaction itself.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's a
So,
very interesting approach of like getting into real estate. And then how was the transition? Like, how did you go from Vegas? Because real estate is a local business. You build it in one place. You can't just take it and go to the other place. Uh, what caused the move, and how did you restart?
well, I came and visited one of my best girlfriends that lived originally in Las Vegas and ended up meeting her husband and moving out here because he's originally from Clearwater. So I had been working nonstop. This was in 2021. So I called up my girlfriend and I said, if I get on a plane this weekend, can you hang out?
Yeah,
And she said, sure. So I came out to Tampa. She gave me the grand tour. We got to see all the beautiful beaches. We went to go eat at really great restaurants. And it was just kind of like an aha moment of, why am I not here?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything is a little bit newer, right? Like most of the places would be newer. I remember visiting most places in Florida. There is history as well. There is character and history. It's not like a random place that's just been built from nowhere.
Right.
There is history, there is character, there is culture, but at the same time, there is a lot of new development and everything feels fresh and new.
Yes. That's a perfect way to describe it. It is really a mix of new and old. And a lot of character. I mean, we have houses that were built in the 1920s, just 30 minutes from where we live, where
Mhm.
they're building brand new construction homes. So it's a very good mix. And I think that there is something for every different type of buyer that may be considering moving to the Tampa market.
Yeah, yeah, sounds great. So, tell us, how has the journey been? Like, has it been smooth? Has it been kind of exponential? Is it steady? Like, what, from the first year till now, like, what's the journey been like?
Well, I think where things really clicked for me was actually in year two. So
Mhm,
I sat down with my broker because I had a couple, or not a couple, I had maybe like 4 or 5 transactions behind my belt at that point. But I was also getting to the point where I said, I may run out of money here pretty soon if I don't get a little bit more aggressive.
mhm,
So my broker actually said to me, go do an open house every single day.
mhm.
And I said, what does that mean? How do you do an open house every single day?
Yeah,
So I did. I figured it out. I had to pivot and work predominantly with buyers. I still took listings, but my business at that point was about 70% buyers, 30% listings. And there
yeah.
was one role play
Mhm.
that my broker, he used to do lunch and learns with us every single day. He was very interactive with us, which was definitely what I attribute a lot of my success to.
Mhm.
And he did this role play talking to a buyer for the first time, just in a very organic way, like they had just walked into an open house. And I don't know what it was about that conversation or that role play, but it was like everything started to click for me after that because I realized sales, even though I had heard this, sales is just asking great questions.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
so
was
deep,
really
right?
powerful.
It's just one sentence, but it's so deep, right? There is like being able to connect and understand the other person I think that's humanity, right? Versus everything else happening in the world with AI. Being able to understand the person in a way that yes, we can relate to them. We understand what we can connect with them, right? It's very, very magical.
It is very powerful, and I think that the successful uh, real estate agents or anyone that's doing sales in any industry, I've just realized that they are question based in their conversations. So once that clicked for me, things got a little bit better,
Mhm,
and then I started joining role play groups. I
mhm.
think it was in my third year in real estate. I joined a role play group that was 7 a.m. in the morning, and it was over 100 agents, and we would all dial into this number,
Oh, wow.
and you would get called out. The main broker would say, okay, Rachel M and John T, you guys are gonna role play, and you had to be ready. So being scrutinized and thrown into the fire is really what it felt like with that role play. It really made me practice my scripts and what I was saying to
Yeah.
people at a very high level, because I said, there's no way. There was one day I embarrassed myself so badly, and I said, I'm never going to do this again. I am going to practice until I'm blue in the face, and I'm going to be waiting for them to call my name.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, cool. So tell us more about kind of how did you take that, and because a lot of times people learn something, they even understand it, but it's very difficult to like take that and actually implement it, right? Was that natural to you, or did you have to do some like did you have to change something in the way you did interact with people to implement it? Like just going being question based, right? Like did you have to change something in and to actually implement it in the field?
Well, I think I just had to realize that it's about them, not me. And
Yeah.
when that really clicked for me, that it doesn't matter if I need this deal, it doesn't matter if I need to put food on the table, none of that matters. All that matters is being present in that conversation
Mhm.
and showing genuine interest in what are their wants, what are their needs, what problems may they have that I could be able to solve with my skill set. So
Yeah.
so I really had to focus on the fact that it is all about the consumer. And
Mhm.
I've always been very customer service driven. If you go on my Zillow profile, for example, I have 47 five-star reviews.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes. And so the customer service aspect of it, I think I probably learned that when I was about 14 years old. Or
Hmm.
no, 15. I had my first job when I was 15. Technically wasn't even supposed to have this job until I was 16, but I got it when I was 15. I was so tall from a young age, no one ever knew. And I worked for a woman, her name was Cianette,
Hmm.
and she had a retail shop in a tourist town in
Hmm.
Nevada. And
Hmm.
she taught me about the importance of customer service and attention to detail. That every hanger because she sold clothes, that every hanger had to be turned the same exact way. And that
Hmm.
every piece of clothing that was out on the floor shouldn't even have a wrinkle on it. She was so meticulous. So I think I really learned that a lot from her. And then that just grew over time of implementing it.
Yeah, that is really special. Like being able to kind of take learnings from different places and apply it to a new field that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So coming to kind of the market, like tell us more about Tampa. What makes it so special? What are some of the big industries there? What are people doing? What is driving so many people to Tampa? What is the magic?
Oh my god. Well, a lot of people relocated during COVID.
Hmm.
That because the state was open, where a lot of other states were shut down. There was no state tax, so that was very attractive for businesses and things like that. Um, I think in the last coming years, we've just had a lot of people from the northern states, New York, New
Hmm.
Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, that I hear all kinds of different things. Some people just say, I can't do the weather anymore. My body can't handle it. And so they want to move into a warmer climate. And like I just talked to a young couple yesterday that they said things, I mean, literally just the transportation cost has become so high
Yeah.
because of the toll roads. Apparently, they've raised the prices on the toll roads
Yeah.
from New Jersey into New York.
Hmm.
And they said that they got a job opportunity out here
Yeah.
that was paying much more, and then they realized we'll also be able to keep more of our check. So I
Yeah.
think there's that affordability for people that they say, hey, I can be an hour from the beach, but still also afford to buy a house because that wasn't their reality. I mean, they told me to get a nice move-in ready house in New Jersey would cost them 700,000.
Yeah.
They're at a fraction of that here in Tampa with all the different options, especially with new construction. And that was another amazing thing to her. She said, "We can get new construction." She goes, "I can't believe it."
Yeah, I don't think.
So
Yeah, I've lived in New Jersey. I've obviously visited Florida many times as well. But I don't think people don't even think that it's possible to buy something that's new construction. It's like not even in their sphere.
without a doubt, and I have been so excited to show so much new construction to so many buyers and see that excitement in their face to realize, hey, I can actually afford this, especially with all the different deals that they have going on here. So, in terms of our industry, I definitely see a lot of people in the tech industry.
Mhm.
I see a lot of people in the bank industry as well. We have some really big banks out here that employ a lot of people, and I've actually had multiple clients that are, separate clients that work at the same place. So, bank wise, so
Mhm.
we see a lot of that, and then there's the folks that work from home or
Yeah.
have some sort of hybrid setup. But that was the relocation for a lot of people as well, is when they realized, hey, my company is going to let me work from home. I can go buy a house with a 2.5% interest rate in a place that's beautiful and has such versatile things to do. I think that was attractive for a lot of people. And then I think there was also like the freedom factor a little bit for people as well that they liked. That it was just, I have the choice of if I'm going to go outside and go to the grocery store type thing. So I think that definitely attracted a lot of people.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think there used to be a stereotype saying once you become old, once you retire, then you move to Florida. Uh,
Yeah,
that has completely changed, right? Like now it's like, oh, I think people might have it. It used to take 60 years for somebody to get in their senses. Now it just takes 20 maybe for people to realize what they really want to do. And I think uh, we are just blessed with all the innovation and everything. Like if along with stuff that happens with tech, all the innovation that has made remote work possible, made a lot of our lives so much easier that we could be where we really want to be and still work.
right. Well, and it's somewhat unfortunate for the commercial space because commercial real estate really suffered because of that, because all these office buildings, they're empty now.
Yeah.
And so the sharks move in. But for residential, giving people that choice to work from home, I think it also probably increased morale in a lot of companies to have that option, especially for parents that now they have the opportunity to probably get a little bit more time with their kid, keep a little bit more money in their pocket from not having to commute as much. So I
Yeah.
think that was a really positive choice for companies to do that, but it has had long lasting negative effects on commercial real estate, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. So tell us more about where you did you mention you're currently 70% listing and 30% buyers, or is it the other way?
Well,
Is it?
that's actually where I'm trying to shift my business into. So when I moved out to Tampa, because because I was coming into a new market, I really wanted to make sure that I knew this market well.
Mhm.
So when I came out here, I actually joined a team.
Okay.
And in joining that team, I was specifically a buyer's agent. I could only work with buyers. So that's what I did for 3 years. Yeah. Lots of time spent in the car. That's all I can say. Um, but it was a blast. I can't tell you. I had to laugh because the first couple buyers I started working with, they were looking across 6 counties
Wow.
for homes because I came into the market when the market was still a little challenging for buyers because the rates were still low. So you had to be really nimble, you had to be really quick, you had to be competitive with your offer. You better be pre-approved if you're getting a loan at that time.
Yeah.
Um, so so I went the buyer's agent route for the last 3 years. Well, I know how to take listings, and so I moved brokerages. I left the team, moved brokerages, and um, since I will say July because I moved my license in June, but I really didn't start getting things going until July. We've had the opportunity to take 8 listings
Oh, sweet.
and put a few buyers under contract, which has been very successful. But that's really, I think, where I want to shift my
Mhm.
focus is into listings. And there's multiple reasons for that. Number
Yeah.
one, when you're working with buyers, buyers really do take a lot of your time and in terms of dictating your schedule. Like I can't tell a buyer, no, I can't go show you a house at 7 o'clock at night because that's the only time you're available. I have to be available for them when they're available. So with my son, that's been a little bit of a challenge because he really gets um, the bad end of the stick sometimes when I have to say, hey, I may not be able to tuck you in tonight because I have to go out and do this showing. So he's been very understanding, but I do want to be more present there for him. And so that's one of the reasons I want to shift into listings. But the other reason I really like doing listings is as a buyer's agent, I saw all the mistakes listing agents made on their
Yeah.
listings. And I'm very heavily into design. I love design. I think I have a very keen eye for it. I have a very advanced eye for it. I think I'm even almost a little ahead of some trends in some cases. And there are so many sellers that are sitting on the market,
Mhm.
not getting any activity, not
Yeah.
able to sell their home, and they have no idea why.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part is that they really don't have any idea why. And I really want to start stepping in and taking more listings so that I can help these people
Yeah.
because sometimes is it price? Yes. But for example, I took a listing and he had been sitting on the market for 73 days, no offers. He had some showings, but no offers. So he actually found my Zillow profile, called me directly, and he goes, I just think you can market my home. I
Mhm.
want to meet with you. And I said, great. So I met with him. Mind you, he had spoken with a lot of agents,
Mhm.
and no one was willing to tell him the truth, which I was. And I told him, I said, you may need to reduce your price a little bit. I said, I don't think you're far off on your price, but I said, you may have to consider doing that. But I said, I'm only going to take your listing on 2 conditions because this is how passionate I was about that. These 2 things had to happen to get this home sold.
Mhm.
The very front shot of that listing looked terrifying from the old listing because
Yeah.
all the landscaping was so overgrown. There was weeds everywhere. The mulch was old. The he had this beautiful paver driveway, which is an upgrade,
Mhm.
and it just needed to be pressure washed because we have so much rain here in Florida that pressure washing needs to happen about every 6 months.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, if we can re-landscape and we can pressure wash, and you let me change a couple things in the marketing,
Mhm.
I said, "We can get your home sold." And I was
Yeah.
so confident in that because his home, the previous agent, it was new construction, 3 years old. This house was only 3 years old.
Yeah.
It had no HOA and it had no CDD fee, which is an additional fee above and beyond an HOA. It's a 30-year bond. It's with the home for 30 years. And a lot of buyers don't like it because it just adds more fees.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe that a buyer that is going to not buy in an HOA isn't going to go buy in an HOA, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
vice versa, a buyer that's looking in an HOA would consider a home non HOA. But the buyer that's looking for no HOA, they only want no HOA. And it's
Yeah.
probably because they've lived in an HOA and have a really difficult time with them.
Yeah.
So he let me change up the marketing. I showed him exactly what I was going to do. And this wasn't even mentioned in the previous listing. It blew my mind. Very first words, I said newer construction, no HOA, and
Yeah.
no CDD.
Yeah. Once. Yeah.
So that piece of the marketing got missed.
Hmm.
And I felt like it was such a good opportunity. Long story short, because obviously you can see I get very passionate about these things.
Yeah.
Um, we sold this house in 30 days,
Oh, sweet.
and we didn't have to reduce the price.
Yeah, that is like just the knowledge about the location, the insight about what's happening, and the skill of being able to sell, market and sell, right? Like that's the most important skill.
Well, here's what I realized. Do you think people's attention span is really, really short these days?
I think so. Like there are people that get stuck on doing one thing for too long. Like it's more of an addiction. But then if for or there's people are getting addicted to things that don't add value, and then everything that does add value, they have very short attention span.
Without a doubt, and I can tell you because even as an agent working with buyers, I'll flip through listing pictures really, really quick,
Yeah.
almost at like lightning speed, but I've looked at so many listings, I'm used to it. Buyers, when they go online, if the first two to three, four pictures don't really grab their attention, they're already on to the next listing.
Yeah.
So they're never going to get in to see the home if they don't like the way that it looks online. And that's why presenting a listing online, not so good where you get there in person and you're like, oh, it looks nothing like it did online, but showing the house in the best light, taking the time to, I let every seller know you're the boss. So
Mhm.
you have the decision on how much work you want to do to your home. But if you're hiring me to get you the most amount of money and get your home sold, then I'm going to recommend this list of items that I think that you should do before you go on the market. And if you want to cherry pick the things that you want to do, that's fine. But it will determine the price that we go on the market because I'll give a range usually. If we don't
Yeah.
do any sort of work, here's your price.
Yeah.
We do the work, here's your price. And my big thing is I'm never going to ask someone to spend a dollar unless they're going to earn two or three back.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. And I think also like there are places where we can spend a lot of money which don't add much value. A swimming pool might be one where you end up spending a lot of money, but yeah, somebody's not willing to pay that. People might be willing to pay maybe 1.5 times the cost of the swimming pool, right? Not the full, not 2x. Whenever we are doing upgrades, I think it should at least pay 2 or 3x, just as you mentioned.
Without a doubt. And pools are so expensive. Pools became very costly in COVID. So I definitely agree. There's places where money can be spent that you do get that return on investment. And that's really where I try to focus my time and energy.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us more about like where you see kind of yourself. Like you did mention you're transitioning to more sellers. Is like are you going to be doing mix of both, like majority sellers and a few buyers?
I think so. I don't think I'll ever give up working with buyers because I do enjoy that process, but I am going to be, I think, a little bit more specific on the buyers that I work with. And what I mean by that is real estate is a business at the end of the day. And so there has to be a minimum standard that we set for ourselves as real estate agents. So I think where real estate agents get burnt out and end up leaving the business is where they don't set any sort of boundary for themselves, and they just say yes, 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 yes all the time. When sometimes that's not even really the best thing to serve the client.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in today's market, I know every agent talks about this, about being buyers being pre-approved, for example. The reason it's so extra important in our market for a buyer to be pre-approved is because taxes are high and property insurance, homeowners insurance, depending on what type of home you're buying, can also be very high. So I like the buyer to have all that information up front because they may have the misconception because they went and ran numbers online that they can buy a $400,000 house and
Yeah.
have a $2,000 a month payment.
Mhm.
Well, that's not reality. So I require all my buyers to come into the office, or I will meet them somewhere if it's a little bit more convenient to do a buyer consultation because that's important. I need to know, what are they looking for? What are their expectations? Are they going to be realistic?
Mhm.
Because some buyers are going to be unrealistic, and I could drive across 6 counties and never sell them anything because the perception in their mind of what they can get is so different from what reality is.
Yeah.
So I like the buyer consultation because I always pull up the big screen and I say, look, guys, let's look at the market together. Let's start punching in your criteria.
Yeah.
Let's look at what homes are actually available on the market today. And and then reality really can set in with them. So I think I am going to be a little bit more specific on the standards that I set for myself and the buyers that I choose to work with. They have to be realistic.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that like as a lender, like even I'm thinking about it, like I think just with what you mentioned, I think I when the pre-approvals I send, I should be mentioning yeah, it's crazy, right? The lenders send a pre-approval saying approved for 1.6 million. But what if $10,000 a year is additional fees? Then they are not approved for 1.6 million. So I'm just thinking about it. Maybe I should include that in my pre-approvals. Like they're approved for this payment a month instead of
Yes.
amount of purchase price.
Well, here's the thing is as the lender, just having that conversation, just to let them know, hey, your purchasing power is up to here depending on what the community fees are. It's going to vary situation to situation. And that's where the realtor and lender can collaborate. And I'm always happy to get a lender fees and let them know, here's what the current real estate taxes are.
Yeah.
But I also let buyers know what the real estate taxes are going to be the
Hmm.
next year. Because one of the big issues that we have, well, there's two. Resale homes, sellers or homeowners that have been in their home for 20 plus years that have
Yeah.
had a homestead on it.
Yeah.
Because if that owner bought that house for 180,000,
Yeah.
they've had a homestead exemption on it. That homestead exemption says their taxes can only go up 3% or the rate of inflation, whichever one is less per year.
Yeah.
So their real estate taxes may only be $1,500 a year.
Yeah.
We just had this happen with one of our buyers, actually.
Yeah.
So I explained to her, I said, when the home sells, the county is going to reassess at at the new purchase price.
Hmm.
And then you can apply your homestead exemption, but this is roughly what the estimate of your assessed value is going to be. Then we take your assessed value by the millage rate in that county, and that gives us your taxes. And there's all kinds of tools online as well where you can go estimate taxes in every county here in Florida. It's wonderful. So I always let buyers know that ahead of time And it's even worse on new construction
Yeah. There is
because,
that changes after a few years.
well, it changes after the first year because let's say a buyer moves in June of this year. When they go to pay their tax bill in November, they're paying taxes on land. That's it.
Yeah.
So when the reassess of the taxes happens the following year, and their real estate taxes went from $900 to $9,000,
Yeah.
they're like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. And what's their fault? Like they didn't even know about it.
Oh well, my buyers do
Yeah.
because I beat it into them until they understand it because I tell them not only is your payment going to go up to this, but you'll also most likely have an escrow shortage
Mhm.
because they're only going to be able to collect so much for property taxes per rest of the law.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So tell us like a little bit more about kind of what is happening in the market right now. Like it, I believe there is a little bit of a slowdown with higher interest rates. Rates are starting to come down just a little bit. Definitely, the announcements and news is way more than the reality of what we see on the mortgage rates. But so it does take a little while time, and mortgage rates will also kind of start reducing. It will follow the Fed rate slowly. But what are you seeing in the market right now?
I think buyers are scared
Mhm.
in today's market because there's way too many headlines that are out there. And so that's why the information from a local real estate agent that understands the market, that's important, that actually understand what's happening in the market. So it's interesting. I had two listings go live 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
It was like crickets.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is one of them, there was this Zillow showcase that just recently came out, right? Where you can pay to have the listing as Zillow showcase so it gets pushed out to more buyers.
Mhm.
Well, I haven't joined that just yet, but my listing is performing like a Zillow showcase listing with views and saves and everything because I actually went in, the sellers let me go into the house and design it,
Mhm.
basically redesign it. So I did
Yeah.
some really fun stuff in there that's, very open to a big pool of buyers.
Yeah.
So I think we're seeing some fear in the market because of the interest rates, because everyone is hearing, oh, well, they're going to go down, they're going to go down, they're going to go down, and they keep going up. Not a
Yeah.
whole lot, just a tick,
Yeah.
but that can be the difference between someone qualifying and not. So that can be a little bit scary for a home buyer that isn't being guided through the process.
Mhm.
So I think we're seeing a little bit of that. The listings have started to pick up more this week, where now I'm starting to get showings, which is great.
Mhm.
So I think we're starting to already see buyers have a little bit more confidence. But I think the other thing that I've noticed is the government shutdown has really affected parts of our market here in Tampa
Mhm.
because around this time of year is when we typically have the Air Force, people that are in the Air Force, relocating to the Air Force Base here in Tampa.
Okay.
And that usually happens the end of the year.
Mhm.
So one of my listings should have really already been sold because there's usually so much more activity this time of year. But I think the government shutdown has been affecting the ability to buy for a lot of these military personnel. And
Yep.
then I had another seller. I went and interviewed with him. He was going to put his house on the market and move to Washington State. He's a government worker. So he
Mhm.
says, I have no income. I can't put my house on the market. I can't even go buy a house. That'd
Yeah.
be silly. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown because when you think about the percentage of Americans that are government workers, I think it's enough to actually make an impact in the marketplace where there's literally people not getting checks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
So so I
multiple things.
think that's affecting the market.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is definitely like multiple things. One is the higher rate. Second is uncertainty of what's going to happen. Maybe they are getting paid right now, but they're like, I'm not totally sure what's going to happen in 2026. This is not the time to take risk.
Right. So, and then there's always going to be the buyers that say, well, the market's going to crash.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope that doesn't happen because that would be absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
Um, and but that type of buyer, I've just realized you cannot give them enough data to get that thought out of their mind that, hey, the market's going to crash and I'm going to be able to get this for this, or what have you. Even when you explain why the first crash happened and that it was heavily due to lending. So anyhow, I digress.
Yeah.
Um, but now in our area, like I live in Wesley Chapel, Florida, which is a beautiful suburb that borders Tampa.
Mhm.
And we have so much new construction in this area. And I will say the new construction really moves because the builders out here pivot very quickly with the market.
Yeah.
They'll reduce prices if they need to reduce prices. A lot of the builders, the big builders that are publicly traded, are coming at the end of their fiscal year. And so they have to sell a certain number of homes to keep their shareholders happy.
Yeah.
So they'll cut prices. I've seen some great deals at the end of the year for new construction.
Yeah.
But then the interest rate, that's really, I think, what makes the biggest impact. I just got a buyer in new construction. Their first year interest rate is 2.875.
Yeah.
Their second year interest rate is 3.875. And then their 3 through 30 is 4.875. And the builder paid all their closing costs. And they got all their appliances.
Yeah.
And we got money off of the price of the home. So there was just and where they said, you know what, this is a great deal. Let's move forward on it.
Yeah.
And I go even more in depth on that with new construction because I asked the builders, what what are your comps? Because with new construction, not all comparable sales are going to be listed or logged in the MLS. So I actually go straight to the builder and I say, what are your most recent comps?
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And are they able to give you something that's comparable, or because most of the times the appraisers just go and they be like, okay, buyer is willing to pay this much. This has to be the value now.
Sometimes, and I've seen new construction appraisals come low.
Yeah.
I have seen that happen. That's why I'm so aggressive when it comes to pricing. And we were able to secure this new construction home $50,000 than the most recent comp.
Oh, nice.
Now, the comp had a little bit more upgrades in it, but not $50,000 worth. So they do get me what I want because I'm very persistent and
Yeah.
I'll usually, you know, I'm very tenacious in terms of getting information, especially when it comes to protecting the buyer's best interest.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, as we come close to the end of this episode, are there any other tips that you would like to share with the buyers and sellers?
Well, I would say this, just do your due diligence when you're going to work with an agent. I always encourage buyers and sellers, interview a few agents.
Mhm.
And if you think I'm the best pick, then even better, because then you can compare what I'm able to offer you up against what someone else is able to compare. And then you know very for sure that you made the right choice because you took the time to interview. So that would really be my biggest tip for home buyers and sellers is just interview the agents
Mhm.
that you're planning on working with, do some research online. Some of the top producing agents, quote unquote, may not be the best fit for everyone. And so it really all just depends on what is the most important thing that you're looking for. Are you more customer service driven? Are you more marketing driven? And go read reviews. Go read a few of those agents' reviews and make sure they're recent. Make sure the agents are getting recent reviews. That way, you know they're continually doing business and they're active in the marketplace.
Yeah, makes sense. That's extremely valuable. Thanks for sharing that with all the audience and everyone that's listening. So without I will have to like conclude this episode. There is a lot that we can still speak about, but I think we'll have to do one more one more episode. It's been great to like learn so much about you and about the location and like everything that's happening around Tampa.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show so much. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Amish.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.